Welcome to part 7 of our series Own Your Uniqueness. Today with Chico Matanda, we are going to talk about a very popular theme that we see both of us in our businesses and that we have experienced in our career lives before. This is about the imposter syndrome and how to overcome our self-limiting beliefs. So the first question we would like to ask you is, how does your imposter syndrome shows up? For some, it's pretty obvious when we start telling ourselves, well, I'm not good enough, I'm not able to do this, they're going to find out that I'm a fraud or what have you. But sometimes imposter syndrome can have a very sneaky way of showing up in our lives and in our careers. And this is what Chico and I are going to discuss as well today. So Chico, let's start the discussion. What is your take about imposter syndrome?
I think my take on it is that we all experience imposter syndrome, and it's at different levels in terms of experience. And the different types of experiences can be conscious, fully self-aware and present of the self-imposter syndrome, or it can be something unconscious where you're like sleepwalking through it and then it hits you and then you start realizing. Okay, so when I say everybody, it's even the most successful people in the world. There's some aspect of self-imposter syndrome, but it's all about learning how to reprogram what's called the childhood programming and inherited beliefs. You know, from family, it might be from family history of not being heard, not being listened to, not being good enough. And then that translates on into career, or let's say education, career life, in relationships in different formats as well. Okay, so you might also end up putting like too much pressure due to external factors that are happening as well. And nowadays, for example, like in the entrepreneurship world, the pressure is about being successful, okay? Being successful in terms of, on different levels, becoming an influencer, if that's what you want. And also like, you know, getting so many followers or being seen to be living the millionaire lifestyle, although you're not there yet. So that can put that type of like self-sabotage experience feeling as well in terms of your network. You may feel like you're underperforming and start to self-sabotage. So I'm going to hand over to Maida just to explain a little bit of how self-imposter syndrome may show up in your life.
Chico, I think you nailed it. I liked the words of sleepwalking. I like the analogy with, I'm going to call it Instagram, because that's the most obvious one, where you have all of these influencers who are the perfect image of the youth, the clothes, the money, the living the life in the Caribbean with a drink and the Mac. A lot of it is here just to reflect back to us where we think we are not good enough. So how does imposter syndrome show up? Not good enough all the time. Playing small. This is when we are fearful, as you talked about when as a child we weren't seen. I'm going to say as well, it's when we are fearful of being seen, when we are fearful of we're going to provoke jealousy, or we're going to go into conflict, or I'm going to take a very silly personal example. When I started this job and I started putting out blogs, my number one obstacle for writing was, oh my goodness, what if there are trolls who are going to start pushing back and don't have this energy? You know, if one day my posts go viral, I would be, in a good way, I would be very happy. We're not there yet. But this shows you how things operate in the mind. Is I don't have what it takes. I don't have that energy. Or for certain women in positions of leadership as well, it goes into, I will never have the respect. The most obvious one is I don't have the skills. They're going to find out that I'm a fraud, that it's by sheer luck that I got where I am. That doesn't exist, ladies. Everything, wherever you are right now, if it's sheer luck, it would be nice, but I would like, we would like you to remember that you worked hard for it. And Chico, one of them, the sentences I would say that I really like that we discussed is this living in never-ending misery where we don't do anything about it, right? We just stay there, we complain, we blame other people. The same way we blame luck for putting us where we are, we blame bad luck for not advancing. Sometimes it happens, but there are things that are within our control that we can help. And number one is recognizing how this limiting belief, that is the imposter syndrome, is sabotaging our goals. So Chico, can you tell us a bit more about that?
Just in terms of how self-sabotage might impact you in your career life or in your entrepreneurship venture when you're starting off or wanting it to grow. I'll just go through like a list of things, and if they resonate with you as well, just feel free to like engage, connect, comment. People, these are things that Maida and myself have experienced as well. And for me, it resonates so much. And the first one that comes to mind is people pleasing. Okay, people pleasing, perfectionism, that's me. I had those tendencies to the point that it crippled me into wanting to do anything further, because even at workplaces, I had to make sure that my emails were like, checked over and over before I sent them. And as Maida was referring to like her experience of writing blogs as well, I also had this perfectionist tendency that I couldn't publish something if there was like, errors. Other examples are procrastination, misplaced loyalty, and not being assertive. Again, that can connect to people pleasing as well, because there's that aspect of fear. What if people leave me? Or what if people don't like certain things that I don't do? Or what if I hear something that doesn't connect with what I am doing right now, especially on social media? We'll bring it up because that's been something that people have been reliant on during like the current pandemic. So those type of feelings may surface for you, as well as self-sabotage tendencies, which prevent you from actualizing things that you visualize in terms of your who you want to become. Or other aspects of it is shying away from projects and new opportunities, or staying within the comfort zone. So those tie in as well, because in terms of new opportunities and new projects, let's say there's new opportunities for you to become like a senior manager, and you fear the worst because you fear that you might be found out, that you're not skilled enough, okay? Or Maida and I, entrepreneur, a business coach. Maida may fear, for instance, that she'll be discovered beyond all her like certificates, qualifications, that she's not good enough. So she may stop herself from actualizing her goals. And in my position as well, I've done that. Just in terms of like attending events, being, speaking on stage. I was very nervous. I was fearful that I will get found out, that I don't know what I know, and I'll make mistakes. And the worst things I could ever imagine, I thought about them. So these are just examples of how you may end up sabotaging your goals. And there's a lot of women who have this like self-sabotage or self-limiting tendencies that you may prevent yourself from actually actualizing your goals. So just looking at, Maida is going to talk about the going beyond those self-sabotage tendency. How do you overcome like those self-limiting beliefs? And how can you look at self-sabotage in a different light? Over to you, Maida.
That it took me some time to get there, but thank goodness I did. Thank goodness you did. And thank goodness we are here to share what we have learned. For me, the first word that comes when I think about imposter syndrome is this is a very nice comfort zone to be in, right? So I am there, I don't do anything, I blame other people for not taking any action, and that is called the bad comfort zone. So what if my imposter syndrome is a messenger? What if this imposter syndrome is here to push me outside the comfort zone that I have outgrown, and to say, well, anytime you go outside the comfort zone, it's going to be a bit uncomfortable, but it's fine. I'm asking you here to be more fearless. I'm asking you here to take action. I am asking you here to walk your talk. And at the same time, for you to be able to take action, it's not an impulse. It's not just like let's jump and see what happens, or let's tomorrow decide I'm the head of something and I have no clue of what I'm doing. That's not imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome can also be telling you there are certain places where you need improvement. This is imposter syndrome when you start comparing yourself in a good way to other people, when you see that maybe they do videos better than you, which is what we discussed a bit earlier, Chico, is
Yeah.
there are always people who will be better on videos than me. It doesn't prevent me from doing the videos, obviously, but I also listen to what Chico has to say as well, because you are beyond that. So imposter syndrome in a nutshell is that little good voice that inside of you can be the good voice that inside of you says, get out, look what you need to change, look the areas of growth, and just go and do it. And the bad imposter syndrome is the one that keeps you small and keeps you there, and as Chico said, is living in misery. But worry not, the same way Chico and I, we still have imposter syndrome, believe it or not, all the time. But we also have developed a set of solutions and actions that we have been implementing and that work pretty well for us. So Chico, now your turn to tell us more.
Yeah, so just in terms of what is the next best steps you can take if you experience like self-sabotage moments, or what we've talked about previously in other series is like self-limiting beliefs. And based on what Maida, I'm just adding on top of what Maida's already spoken about, it's also about finding role models, okay? People who've got like an optimistic and positive outlook, people who embrace life in a resilient way. Okay, so like people who grow through pain rather than focus on the pain as the only end to everything. Okay, so that you're able to see what is possible. So those role models show up in different forms in your life. And they're the people who will connect with you on the most authentic level, that will see your best self that you may hide from at times. Okay, so for example, my role models were managers. People who managed me would always, somebody would come up and say, oh, have you seen that post? Which I completely like blanked away from, because I just thought I'm not qualified enough, I'm not ready. And I just focused like on my role and doing the best that I could. But somebody else saw something and the potential. So what they helped me do was to grow through that pain, the pain of I can't, the pain of I'm not good enough, or I'm quiet, I'm shy, I'm reserved. How can I become somebody's manager? Or I'm too young, everything that you can think of were my self-sabotage tendencies, okay? So in other circumstances, it might be that you actually want to become a manager, but you self-sabotage intentionally because you want to do it, but you can't. So in those cases, I would also recommend that specialists. And what has helped me in the past as well, I knew that there were certain childhood patterns that I needed to overcome, certain childhood traumas that I needed help with. And I couldn't do that independently on my own. Like anxiety, for instance, I couldn't overcome that on my own. So I had to seek specialist support. So it's being able to identify your own personal growth area. And what Maida talked about before is that you may feel certain like fears, but it's about how you push through those fears. That's if you want to move beyond the misery, okay?
Yeah.
Because not everybody wants to move beyond the misery, believe it or not. But it's also if you want to, then seek specialists. It's not a weakness, it's a growth, like a coach, psychotherapist. What else is there? A health coach.
These two, yeah, these two
Yeah.
are very good together. Absolutely. When you combine therapy with coaching, you
Yes.
accelerate massively. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. And what we talked about from before is that the people who've excelled or you might admire, those people in the background are also focusing on their self-sabotage tendencies. What can they grow through in terms to become their best self? And you will see it everywhere, from like athletes to journalists to people who are on TV, you name it. They've got somebody who's coaching them to overcome their self-sabotage tendencies, because it's part of not realizing that we are human beings and human doings, as the saying goes. And the human doings always catches us in places where we hurt ourselves intentionally and unintentionally. So it's focusing on what you know and what can help you, and being open and receptive to taking action. Okay, making commitment to yourself to develop that growth mindset, knowing that whatever experiences are coming your way, it is part of a lessons learned opportunity. It's not failure. There's patterns that you've learned from like childhood. Let's accept that. It doesn't mean that it's a life sentence. It means that you can still grow as a person. You're here for a reason, and those events are what make you what you are right now. I don't know if there's anything else that Maida you wanted to add.
No, not really, because you summed it up exactly perfectly. And just like a bit before we close this chat is that, again, remember, everybody has imposter syndrome. Some people are better at hiding it because they don't let it stop them. They use it as a way to advance, as a way to find maybe some weaknesses that they have that they would like to overcome. And they use other people as well as role models to get them to where they are, to tell their brain, if he can do it or if she can do it, so can I. There's absolutely no reason why this wouldn't be the case. So today, Chico and I would like you to go and examine again what constitutes your imposter syndrome and the ways it's showing up and what it's costing you as well in your life and in your career. We also invite you it's not too late to join our community. The link will be below these videos as well, and you will receive an extra questionnaires and extra resources to help you in your imposter syndrome, but also in for all of the previous and the future chats that we have had or we will have with Chico. Thank you so much, Chico, and to the next chat.
Thank you so much, Maida, as well. We look forward to you joining us on the next session. And remember, you can also interact with us on YouTube when we air on Fridays. It's a live stream chat. You have an opportunity to engage, ask questions, and share your life experiences. So we'll see you on the next chapter of next series. Bye for now.